The circumstances that I see directing crime that are causes to crime in Fayetteville are the exact same causes that I saw during my time in Charlotte. The same indicators, the same root causes of disorder, and the broken windows theory is prevalent here as it was there. Neighborhoods that do not tolerate crime don't have crime. Bad guys are the same. In fact, in my 8 weeks here, I found that some of the names of bad guys in Fayetteville were the exact people that came to Charlotte to do criminal activity. So crime is certainly regional, and it's mobile. I love Charlotte. Was so proud to be a resident there, to live there for all the years that I did. But Fayetteville is it's a friendlier town, a friendlier city. Folks here really seem to want to get to know you, and it's something that I missed. I'm kind of a North Carolina boy, was raised here, and so it's really nice to get back to that feeling where folks want to get to know you, not just say hello. Well, you know, one of the things that really surprised me coming here is in my first weeks was the amount of vehicular traffic in the city. The number of traffic fatalities, pedestrian fatalities that we've had over the last year doing the research really started to cause me some concern. And then just good old cop observation. As I've been driving around the city, I noticed that there were as many red light runners in Fayetteville, North Carolina as there are in Charlotte, North Carolina. So what I asked my traffic unit to do was to do the research and give me the highest accident locations in Fayetteville. And so they did that, and we started a program that we would put our motor unit with some vehicle support out at these high accident locations, and we would begin to cite for really for stoplight violations initially. I think we've been doing it 3.5 weeks now. We have over 500 citations that were written. Now, the interesting thing about this program is that every week we, through the media, release the locations that we're going to be conducting enforcement activities at, and we still wrote over 500 citations in the first 3.5 weeks. And we expected that, but it's also disturbing that we have that number of people who were cited. That doesn't mean we stopped every person who ran a red light, because once we've stopped a person, then it continues. So we've got to do something, and so we're using the statistics to tell us where we need to deploy our resources, and we're going to continue that program. And we're going to do our part to bring the traffic injuries, traffic fatalities to a level that at least if we can't eliminate them, we can slow folks down so that we don't have as many fatalities. Gangs are everything from the traditional, what you would consider national gangs or international gangs, to the neighborhood gangs. And so I get that we probably have some component of each of those here in Fayetteville, as most large cities do. The things that I want to do is make sure that we're enforcing the laws regardless of whether you're in a gang or not. But certainly we are worried about gang violence, and we're concentrating on that with our gang and gun violence unit. But I also recognize that you cannot arrest your way out of this problem. The enforcement activities that we're taking now are really aimed at those folks that are actively engaged in a gang. What we have to also consider are the intervention strategies of kids wanting to join gangs. You know, kids want to belong. You know, a lot of disaffected youth, a lot of our kids who don't have a solid home life, don't feel like they belong anywhere to any particular group or have a lot of friends, will join a group of kids or a gang to fulfill that sense of belonging, because everybody wants to belong. Everybody wants to be a part of a family unit. And a lot of kids think of their gang as the family unit. So we have to develop some strategies to intervene. You know, there are some programs out there like Gang of One, Right Moves for Youth, Do the Right Thing, Police Activities League. All of those things we're going to bring to the forefront here in Fayetteville to involve our children, our youth, with positive role models in a variety of activities. The Gang of One allows us to actually have counselors who help parents and help guardians, help families intervene with a kid when it's determined that that child is now heading toward that lifestyle, and keep them out of that, give them that positive role model, that positive family unit to keep them out of that lifestyle. So those kinds of things are what you would call the non-traditional, but certainly I think they are critical to intervening and starting to break up some of the gangs. A lot of our gangs use very young children to conduct the criminal activity because the kids don't have records. They also know that anyone under 16 generally is going to be treated as a juvenile, and the penalties are a lot less. All of that is expunged or removed from a child's record when they turn 16. So we have to intervene at a very early age with the schools, the families, churches here, and then volunteers to give our kids some activities and some outlet to keep them out of that lifestyle. Well, I'm really proud of the work that our gun and gang unit has already done. I just saw a number today, and I think we've taken in the first 3 months of this year 300 guns off the street. That's a phenomenal number of guns, but and very, very encouraging to know that in 3 months we were able to take that number of guns out of the hands of potential criminals. The thing that worries me most are the fact that a lot of our children and I mean children, are carrying guns. Kids that aren't old enough to sit behind the wheel of a car, but they're carrying high capacity, large caliber weapons that they don't know how to operate. And so it's, when I was young, had an argument with another kid, we settled it usually by rolling around the playground, getting dirty, and called it a fight. Kids today don't, they skip all that and they go straight to being offended or disrespected to using a gun if that's the case. They also have no problem using a gun to perpetuate a crime. And I think that's, it's frightening, it should be alarming to us. And I'm not talking about legally owned firearms. I'm talking about guns that find their way, illegal guns that find their way into the hands of children and then felons. The felons continue to use guns to rob people, to settle scores among themselves, and that creates fear in our community. It's unacceptable. So we'll continue to work with our gun and gang violence unit. We'll continue to adopt strategies to go after people, those prolific offenders that choose to use a firearm. We will concentrate on them. We will get to know them. They will get to know us, because we're not going to let that small group of people who create that fear in our community continue to walk around. And so we'll develop strategies that will deal with those folks. We'll work with our courts, our district attorney, to make sure that they understand the importance of taking these folks off the street when we make a good case. And I can assure you that I place a high value in using federal firearms charges with our U.S. attorney to prosecute those folks who are convicted felons and carry weapons illegally in our community. We won't tolerate it. There are a lot of folks who are victimized through burglaries, or thefts from autos, folks who don't secure their weapons at home, don't secure their weapons in their vehicle. First, you should never leave a weapon in a vehicle. But the number of thefts that we have every year of legally owned firearms that now are illegal firearms because they have been stolen, find their way into a criminal's hands. We have to be more responsible gun owners in this city. And make sure that our weapons are secured, that our ammunition is secured, so that if we are victimized of a burglary or a theft from our auto, that a weapon doesn't find its way into the hands of a convicted felon or a child. We're developing a restructuring, or some would say a reorganization now, that allows us to more closely focus on crime neighborhood by neighborhood across the city. So we have some plans that I'm not really ready to share with you now, but certainly we are reorganizing to make sure that we are connected with our neighborhoods and our communities, that we have command level folks who are focusing on criminal activity in neighborhoods and making those connections with the community. What we're currently doing with the restructuring is making sure that we have the right number of officers currently employed during the times we need them most. That's what it's all about, preventing crime. If we can't prevent every crime, we're going to reduce crime as much as we can. So everything that we do every day in this organization, everything that I do every day in this organization should be about preventing or reducing crime and improving the quality of life in Fayetteville, North Carolina.